Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about monitoring comprehension, but first let's talk about our learning target. We are talking about main idea and key details. I can describe the main idea and identify supporting details. And our essential question is, why is plumbing necessary for our health and safety? So today, while we're talking about comprehension monitoring, we are thinking about what we are reading while we're reading. So let me give you an example. How many of you have ever been watching one of your favorite TV shows or favorite movie, and a parent or a sibling or somebody in your house comes storming in the room to talk to you or ask you a question? Now, you've just missed part of your movie or TV show. So what do you have to do to make up any time that you've missed? You have to stop and you have to rewind. Now, the cool thing about reading is you can do the same thing. You can pause your thinking, you can rewind it, you can actually just start over. So, to help you understand what you're reading. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about comprehension monitoring. Okay, so monitoring comprehension is when you are thinking about what you're reading while you're reading to determine whether it makes sense or not. So you might ask yourself questions like, do I understand what I'm reading? And if you do, then just keep going. And if you don't, you need to stop and fix it. One way to say, yes, I do understand, and you can always keep going, is to be asking yourself questions while you're reading. So we have some thick and thin questions that you can use while you're reading to help you along. So some thick questions might be your higher level questions that you have to use your mind for. It's not going to be directly in the text. So what if, why did, how do you think, or how would, or how might. What might be some of those questions that you can ask yourself. In addition, your thin questions would be questions like who, what, where, when, why, and how. And those questions can help you as well with understanding what is going on in the text. All right, so I have another tool for you that I would like to share. Let me pull it up. Okay. All right, so this is our reading remote, which we can use for monitoring comprehension. So when you begin your reading, you play. You're just reading. You're plugging along, making sure that you're saying all your words correctly, and asking yourself those thick and thin questions. When you get to the end of a paragraph, sometimes even at the end of a sentence, you might want to pause and ask yourself questions. Those questions could be, do I understand what I'm reading? They could be those thick questions, they could be the thin questions, or they could be questions like, that really didn't sound right, and I'm gonna go back and fix it. At the end of a section, you're gonna stop and you're going to clarify your reading. What that means is you might ask yourself some deeper questions, you might summarize what you read and determine those main parts. In this case, I want you to tell me the main idea and the key details as you're summarizing. If you do not, for whatever reason, understand something, you can go back and you can rewind. And you don't have to reread the whole thing. You just reread that sentence or paragraph that just didn't make sense to you. All right, so next what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take some time to read that first section in our story, The Great Stink, for you. And I'm gonna show you what it means to use the comprehension monitoring remote. All right, let me make sure that you can see everything okay. All right, so The Great Stink. In London of 1858, London was caught in the grip of a deadly health crisis. Its largest river was overflowing with poop. All right, so let's get started. Just a reminder, I'm just reading this first section here, and we are pausing, and at the end of this section, we're gonna stop to clarify. All right, so let's play. Let's journey to the city of London, England, in the summer of 1858. Horse-drawn carriages clip-clop through the streets. Ladies wearing tent-like skirts glide past window shops. Kids stand on street corners selling newspapers and cigars and fried fish. Okay, I'm going to pause and first I'm going to ask myself, did it make sense? Yes, I know that because I was thinking about what I am reading and I was asking myself, where is this taking place? And it's taking place in London and it's setting the scene of what people did, what a normal day would look like. All right, and now I can play. But you don't notice any of that. All you can think about is the overpowering, stomach churning, eye watering smell of poop. Okay, I'm at the end of another paragraph here, so I'm going to pause again. And as I was reading, I was thinking about, well, what is this all really going to be about? And I have found a main idea here. All you can think about is that nasty smell of poop that is taking over London. All right, let's play. As you will soon discover, the entire city is caught in the grips of a stinky crisis. For years, Londoners have been dumping human waste into the Thames, the great river that rushes through the city. Now, London is suffering the hottest summers in recent history. The steaming heat is cooking the filthy river into a bubbling, foul-smelling stew. Newspapers are calling the situation the Great Stink. All right, so I'm going to pause, and I was asking myself some thick question here. How did the smell of poop take over London? And now I know that people were dumping waste into a big river that was in London. And it was a very, very hot summer. So what happened was it actually made it stink even worse. All right, and let's read the last paragraph. Play. The problem isn't merely gross. Okay, so I'm going to pause here because that isn't really a word that I've ever heard before. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to reread to see if it makes more sense the second time. All right, so I'm going to press rewind and now I can play. The problem isn't merely gross. Okay, so now I'm going to pause again. Merely means like the only problem. So there is going to be another problem. Let's play. It's also deadly. Over the past 50 years, tens of thousands of people have died from drinking the polluted water of the Thames River. Can the Great Stink force the city to clean up the river before thousands more are sickened? All right, so I'm going to stop here to clarify. So I know that there is a poop problem in London. That's my main idea. My first detail is it's a super hot summer, and because of that, it just stunk. And secondly, the problem with the river was people used it as drinking water too. So now people are getting sick and dying from ingesting that nasty water. All right, guys, so here is your job for today. You're going to go on and fill out the Google form. I would like you to read the rest of the article here and ask yourself some questions while you're reading. You can ask yourself 5 questions and put them in the Google form. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.